So today we're going to explore adding and subtracting like terms. Okay? So we have to identify like terms, and then we have to add them and subtract them. So when we are looking at 2 apples and 3 apples, I can add them together, right? Because we're talking about the same fruit, the same thing. What do I get? 5 what?
Apples.
5 apples, right? And it's very important that you include that apples. Okay? It is 5, but it's 5 apples. Now, how about when I have 14 oranges plus 7 oranges minus 5 oranges? Again, you were able to add these together and subtract them because we're talking about the same fruit. Now, how about when I have 8 apples plus 6 oranges minus 4 apples minus 10 oranges?
14.
14 what?
Apples and oranges.
Can I have 14 apples and oranges? That becomes a fruit salad. Right? So this is when you can't add them all together. Right? Which ones can you add though?
The apples and the oranges.
That's right. So this is where you're going to have to go. The 8 apples minus the 4 apples, they have to go together because they're the same kind. Right? So that's going to be 4 apples. Make sense? And then you're going to take the oranges. So 6 oranges, take away 10 oranges, so you're going to have negative 4 oranges. Okay? So this is when you can't mix different terms together. Does that make sense? I'm hoping to hear a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at this, we call these two like terms. And these two like terms. Okay? So the like terms, we can add them together. So a typical term would look like this. A typical term would be a number with a letter. Okay? What do we call the number?
Minus 8x.
So that's minus 8. The number is minus 8 and it's called a coefficient. Okay? The term altogether is minus 8x. But the minus 8, or the negative 8 actually, the negative 8 is your coefficient. Okay? And the x is the variable. In order for you to say that these two are like terms, they must have the same variable. Okay? So, like terms must have the same variable. I want you to look at example number 1, and it is 7x. I want you to find like terms for 7x. So name the like term for 7x in that row.
Negative 5x, 4x, 9x squared.
Is 9x squared a like term?
You can go with it because it's an x.
Yeah, but does it have the same exponent?
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you were just asking if they could go together.
And basically 9x squared and 7x cannot go together because they don't have the same variable. The variable here is x, the variable here is x squared.
Oh.
They're not the same variable. Yes, it's the same letter, but because of your exponent 2, it changes your variable. Okay? So these two cannot be added together. Okay? So 7x, a like term for that is negative 5x because it has the same variable. Like term would be 4x. Any other like terms in that row?
X3? No, that's it.
No, that's it. Okay, how about this one? I'm gonna make, I thought I didn't change it, but I guess not. So example number 2 is 2y squared. Which one would be a like term for 2y squared? Do I have any like terms there? Yeah.
Ours doesn't say 2y squared.
I know, I changed it to
Oh,
2y
okay.
squared. So, what's a like term for 2y squared?
What? Anything with a y squared?
Yeah, so which one would it be? Do you have anything with a y squared here?
9y squared.
9y squared. So these two are like terms. Yeah? What would be a like term for 4xy?
7xy.
7xy. Okay? So the ones that are with the green, they're like terms. The ones that are in the red, they're like terms. So, let's try this. Like terms. Have the same variables. So for example, I have xy, 3xy, negative xy. They're all like terms because they have the same variable. Okay? The coefficient. What's the coefficient again?
The 8x type thing.
It's the number in front of the variable. Okay?
Number.
So the coefficient for this one would be 3. The coefficient for this one would be the invisible one that you don't see. Okay? The coefficient for this one would be -1 because you don't see the one. So the coefficient, which is the number in front of the variable, may differ. So it may be different between like terms. Okay? So if I want to look at this, so let's say if I have 3xy and 5xy, they're still like terms, even though their coefficients are not the same. exponent on the variable must be the same to be considered a like term. Okay? So if you have a coefficient, if you have an exponent, so let's say 3x cubed, 7x cubed, x cubed, okay? These are considered like terms because the variable has the same exponent, okay? If they're not all x cubed, then we don't consider them as like terms. And last, you cannot add or subtract different terms. Okay? They must be like terms in order for them to be added and subtracted. Is that clear? Okay? Let's look at the example below. So the first example says 7a plus a. What would that give me? 8a. Because remember the coefficient here is a 1, so 7 plus 1 is 8a. You see that the variable stays the same, it does not change. How about the next one? 9p, take away p. 8p. Okay. The next one has a little bit more terms in it. How many terms do you see? How many terms? Not letters. 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Right? So we have 4 terms. Which ones are like terms?
7x,
And negative 3x, that's right. So 7x and negative 3x are like terms, right? First thing that I want to do, I want to remove any brackets. Okay, you see I have brackets here. So what happens if I remove them? If I remove the brackets? What do I write? What happens here? That's what's negative times negative?
positive.
Positive. So that's plus 6y. Right? So the first thing I have to do is kind of make this look nicer and neater. Okay? So instead of having negative, negative after each other, I want to change it to a positive. Then I have to look at my like terms and I have to collect them. Alright? So 7x minus 3x gives me 4x. And negative 10y plus 6y gives me
16y.
negative 4y. Right? Because you're at negative 10 and you're adding 6. Okay? You're done. That's the most simple form that you can go to. Right? These two terms are not like terms, so you can't do anything to it. Okay? So that's the end of it. So, what are like terms here? 9x squared and
6x squared.
negative 6x squared. You always have to take it with the sign right before it. Okay? So you have 9x squared, take away 6x squared. What do you get? 9 take away 6 is 3x squared. keep the variable the same. Okay? Another set of like terms. What would it be? So what's like term to negative xy?
8xy.
8xy. So you have negative xy plus 8xy. What do we end up with? Be plus 7xy. Right? You have negative 1 plus 8. So if you want to enter this on the calculator, you're going to enter it as negative 1 plus 8.
So, negative xy is always, if there isn't a number, it's considered 1.
That's correct. So if there's no coefficient in front of the letter, it's a 1. Okay? And do you have a like term for x? No. So I have to write it as is. How about for 9y? There's no like term, so I have to write it as is. There's nothing I can do with it. Okay? So that's it. There's nothing else you can do. You have to leave it like that.
That's the answer.
That's the answer. Okay? That's the simplest form you can have it in.
I got the wrong answer. I don't
Why?
know. Okay, for the first 9x2.
Yeah?
Okay, so it's not 9. Okay, I put
It-
9 to the power of 2, and then just like added in the x.
X is to the power of 2.
Okay.
Right? 9 is not to the power of 2.
Alright.
If 9 was to the power
It
of
would've
2,
been
it
closer.
would look like this.
Okay.
Right? But in this case, it's only x that's to the power of 2. Okay? Can I move to the next? Okay, so what I want you to do right now is I want you to practice these questions.